The time is 6:15. We'll call the July meeting of the zoning board to order. And although we have an abbreviated schedule for this evening, it's quite significant in its importance. The first item on the agenda is actually the minutes, but I want to hold off on the minutes until we get into conversation about the issue itself. As you all are aware of now, that the selectmen have chosen to seek a motion for a rehearing relative to the variance that we issued to the young guy over there in Lockmere to have his auto repair shop. And now that I believe both of you have read the Westcott Law thing, these are the issues that they maintain. When I first received this letter from him, and I got to that first paragraph, and I said, what did he base this letter on? Well, the initial set of minutes, you must have the initial set of minutes. If that's what he was shown, that might be the reason why he produced the letter the way he did. It makes it sound very quickly like we didn't do anything other than say hello, goodbye, you got your variance. And we all know that that wasn't the case. Right. Okay, that we heard it extensively, we discussed it extensively. However, one could take issue with the fact that the way we actually conducted it, we might have erred in the procedures as far as how we produced the end result. There is the element of findings of fact and stuff that could have been done, which we didn't really do when it came to the criteria of the hardship. Okay, so there is some issue there, and I can see whether it warrants a rehearing. That remains to be seen. I'm going to kind of leave it up to the board at this point in time as to whether you feel that you want to follow the path of a rehearing, or we can choose to deny it, and in which case then the only path that can be followed at that point in time is the selectmen can take the attorney and they can go to Superior Court with it and seek to get a resolution from the Superior Court. In my past experiences with such a thing, the worst case will happen is the Superior Court will remand it back to the board to rehear. Okay, that's the way it usually evolves. Sometimes they will reverse your decision and that'll be the end of it. Okay, but nothing that's going to really hurt us. Okay, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of attorneys' time, of which I already have received from the selectmen after I went into them and said, well, you got an attorney, we need an attorney too, so I've got an approval for an attorney for 5 hours. Yeah, they actually put a limit on it, which I thought was kind of interesting to say the least. But it is what it is, and obviously if we choose to deny and they take it to Superior Court, then they can't very well put a limit on it. Then it's going to be whatever the attorney wants to do, and that would be the sole direction that it could go. I think that's really the whole thing in a nutshell. So I guess that being said, and what I mentioned about the minutes as what they were and what they have now been revised to reflect that we really did have a meeting, and the video we have of our meeting is what now took place in the minutes. In the future, I can only suggest if another variance were to surface from another direction, that we might have to handle it in a more explicit way. And it's not going to be fun. Okay, it's going to take the pleasure out of it, but I think you know where I'm going. So that being said, I'll open it up to discussion here. And oh, wait a minute, we're going to be back up. Now that you know about the minutes and the letter, how does everybody feel about the revised revision to the minutes that Derry has? Are you?
Where would they be plugged in?
Probably next to the last page.
I can answer that if you wish.
Okay.
I just I want to make sure that because the attorney for the select board, I think in the letter it says, it's my understanding that no testimony or other information would be taken by the board at such a meeting, and that all discussion would be confined to the board members. Please let me know if my understanding of procedure on a motion for hearing is incorrect in any way. I just want to make sure that at times that I'm speaking, me not being a board member, we're clearly separating the discussion of motion for rehearing from the discussion of reviewing the June 21st minutes. So as long as everyone's clear that we're sort of transferring out a discussion of review of the June 21st minutes, I'll speak freely and indicate that the following here on this piece of paper would replace the third full paragraph on page 4 of the current draft minutes.
Yeah, okay. Third paragraph?
You'll actually see that third paragraph currently consists of 2 sentences, and actually the first sentence would be the first sentence of what would potentially be plugged in, and the last sentence would actually be the last sentence of what would potentially be plugged in. So essentially it expands that 10 minutes out and places an incredible level of detail of what was said during that 10 minutes.
Right.
It goes right in here. Okay, and where did you say it would finish?
It would replace that one paragraph. That's it. Take out that paragraph and put in those 6 paragraphs.
Oh, right in between the that 1 3-line paragraph?
Yep, that goes away
That's
and it gets
gone?
replaced with
Okay,
that.
Second line's gone, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I've reviewed these, they're almost verbatim what was said. It's excellent.
Yeah, great, okay, that's,
I think it's excellent. Well done, Derry.
Thank you.
I know it's gonna add another, probably almost full page to this.
Yeah.
well,
But
It's,
you know what? It gives a clear indication that those were reviewed.
it's an unusual circumstance,
Yeah.
and, you know, it's just, it is what it is, and it's not something that'll be, well, that depends. I mean, if we go to in the future, this being the board, if we go to more specific type of
More detail.
language and detail in the meeting, that would probably change minutes in the future. Okay. But anyway, that being said, relative to the minutes as amended, is everybody comfortable with that?
I am. Yes.
Okay, can we have a motion and an approval then?
I move to accept the revised minutes for June 21, 2016 as presented.
I'll second
All in favor?
that. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that's done. Now, getting back to the issue at hand, I'd open it up to the rest of the board here to let me hear your thoughts and feelings relative to this issue. Unfortunately, you two are at a disadvantage. I mean, Bob and I have been part of it the last couple of days, but it's all new to you, so I mean, I realize that you're not gonna have time to, haven't had time to digest it.
No.
And that's one of the reasons I didn't think there would be a vote at tonight's meeting, because you might wanna do that.
Reviewed about 20 minutes worth of their meeting.
Oh, the select,
Selectmen's meeting. And we noticed right away that Selectman Dawson handed a piece of paper to all the board members. They took about was it 5 minutes or more to read through this page, which Chairman Plessner has procured for us to help Atari. And without this, we wouldn't really have a basis for understanding what they were talking about, because they never brought up any of this up in their subsequent discussion. They just talked about getting legal assistance, that sort of stuff. What should we do? Should we prepare a letter ourselves? Should we go, and then eventually they decided to go with legal help in preparing the letter, which you've all read from Westcott Law. This letter has a lot of disturbing sentences in it that really trouble me. But I won't go into detail right now, especially that last sentence. I'm not happy with that at all. And it's sad that
Somebody's here. Wasn't sure if I was here or not.
it's sad that this could in some ways be a morale buster. It's not doing my morale any good, I know that. And
That makes you not want to.
yeah,
Mhm.
Want to put up with it for $300 a year.
I agree.
you're pretty close to the mark.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So something's got to change. I hate to see boards get like this. But it's happening. I've seen it happen before, and it wasn't pretty. There's no reason, in my opinion, that, if there are issues that come up from time to time, even if we are being scrutinized, that they can't meet with us informally and go over those issues.
Right.
Yeah, starting.
And see if we can work something out.
Yeah.
This is not a good way to do it.
No.
This doesn't make me happy at all. So, that being said,
there's a friendly way and
yes,
an unfriendly way
exactly.
of approaching these kind of situations. And,
It's too bad, but
it's, and I've already mentioned that it could bring about unintended consequences.
good. Yeah. No one likes to be under a microscope.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not necessary. I mean, I think back, I was mowing grass today, I was thinking back to the early 1980s when Tilton really started to feel the impact as a destination area. And developers were coming from all directions. We're building up exit 20.
Mm.
And back then, the main focus on all these variances requests that came in was the hardship issue in the spirit of the ordinance. And our ordinance was so non-inclusive, so vague back then. I think you remember.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was just full of holes. It was tough. I chaired the zoning board for quite a few years. We turned down almost every variance. Very seldom did we approve one, and we ended up in Superior Court on average of every month and a half with appeals. And we succeeded on all of them, so we didn't have any kickbacks. didn't have to rehear any cases. So I had advantage of an excellent town attorney at that time. He made sure that we were crossing all our Ts and dotting the Is, and the procedures were there. That's done right. But the hardship criteria itself was different then.
A lot different.
Very strict, very straightforward.
Yeah, it has
You either
really-
had it or you didn't.
Exactly.
And
And
now it's-
financial could not be considered.
And over the years, it has been softened a lot.
A lot, the Supreme Court has softened
Yeah.
quite a bit.
So it's, I find it more difficult actually to deal with than we did in the early and mid-80s, you know, it was pretty cut and dry.
In a way, more things have become more subjective
It's more subjective, is right, yeah.
than
That's
they
a good
used to be.
term.
And that's
Mhm.
what tends to complicate matters a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, because in the cases that we've done in the past, we have denied a few, obviously, but a lot of times we're able to work things out with the folks and you know, set conditions and limits within that parameter, and it's been good. I've always felt good about it, the way we finished up. And I think this was a good decision as well. It's my own personal.
wait a minute. Well, what's a good decision? What are you doing?
This Perkins, the Perkins case, 16 years.
Oh,
We did the right
the
thing.
case at hand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And too, if you can't, you know, what's the sense of being on the board, putting your input in if you have to go by.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It can't be too restrictive. You can't, there has to
Well,
be some common sense in it.
Yeah,
That's-
but at the
that's
same
where I
time,
see
you
it.
gotta be careful not to,
Oh, I know, yeah, and you have to apply
inadvertently
that
change the zoning
evenly on
ordinance, too.
everybody. So you can't do a little bit for somebody here and then not do the same thing for somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, that definitely is an issue. But I still think
setting a precedent is always on the back of your mind.
that's true.
So I think myself that we ought to take full advantage of the 5 hours that we have with legal counsel.
Well, first of all, before we can engage, before we should engage legal counsel, we need to decide which way we want to go. Okay, that doesn't necessarily involve the counsel to begin with. He can advise us after we've made a decision, and I make an appointment with him, and let him know what our decision would be before it's, how do I want to say this? If we go to him now, I'm not sure what he can do other than to suggest that we go forward with a rehearing to see where it goes. Because theoretically, or in actuality, if we go for a rehearing, then of course it will be reheard. If we choose not to go for it, then it's a question of what they're going to do with the next step. Their only avenue at that point in time is to go to Superior Court and file with Superior Court. And then that's when an attorney would really get involved. Do you concur with that reasoning? I mean, if it went in now, knowing that right off the top, we've got a 5-hour limit on legal time, to use up that time, just going in and getting an opinion of what has gone down, that's gonna probably take 2 or 3 legal hours right there.
Right.
So I really feel that this, personally, this whole thing has tied this board's hands behind their back, to put it bluntly, as far as being able to function as we have managed to function all these years. So I'm not sure what to even suggest. I mean, I have my own feelings, which when we finally poll the board, not necessarily vote, but to poll the board, to see where you're inclined to go, what direction you're inclined to go. And we can all express our opinion at that point in time. So Maria, you haven't had too much to say. but-
I'm just so confused with this. I think the letter just, in the beginning, made my heart go in my stomach, thinking there's a letter from a legal service from the Board of Selectmen without the Board of Selectmen maybe calling the chairman and say, you know, I don't quite agree in what went on, how can we approach this in a different way and get together? It just made me think, why are we here? I thought it went well, I thought we hit the points that we needed to.
Mhm.
It seemed like in the letter, they had also said to reconsider all these decisions that we did touch upon. So for them to say that we didn't touch upon what we touched upon, it's confusing. I'm just very confused.
Well, to clear something up for you, I think what has taken place here is that when they took this to the attorney, and they must have given him a copy of the minutes, and from those minutes he gathered and he made these points as part of his motion here. And because he had, to my knowledge, the selectmen have not seen our video, knowing that we spent over an hour on this case, okay? The attorney probably hasn't seen it because he never would have put that first paragraph in if he had seen it. Okay? So, I mean, this is one of the things that has bothered me from the very beginning, is that bad information is getting passed on, bringing about this whole brush fire, if you will,
Without research.
without any real backing behind it. And I find that very disturbing, to say the least. And not very intelligent, the way the whole thing has been approached, even from the attorney's point of view. Very disappointing with the attorney. I can't believe that he would act without having more information involved,
Right.
especially considering the video is available. But he probably wasn't even told there was a video available. The other thing that I found disturbing is that in the selectmen meeting of 6/23, this whole thing was started out by Catherine Dawson saying that she's heard from a couple of other people and that this is what the action, that they asked her to intervene as the Board of Selectmen on this decision. Now, I don't know who these other people are, but the question still rises to the level of significance is those other people may not have standing to request a rehearing. But now they're using, if they even exist, they're using the select board to carry the flag for them at the expense of the citizens of the community.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if this is true, what she said about these other parties.
Right. And who they
Why
are.
didn't they ask for the rehearing?
Excuse me?
Well,
Why would they ask for
that's the
That's
point
right.
he's making, is that they may not have standing to do that.
Normally, it would have it taken a butter.
So the question is, if you take them out of the picture, and would the Board of Selectmen have initiated this whole process to begin with by themselves?
If
If it
they,
hadn't been for these other two alleged callers.
correct. Yeah.
I know.
This wasn't a new idea, apparently, according to her, unless it was her new idea. But that disturbs him, because we might be subject the guy to a rehearing of his case because of someone who doesn't exist. So, but I should mention too, that there's no question that the selectmen always have standing to request a rehearing. Okay, they can do that without that
Yeah,
statement
right,
being
right.
made.
They could, but would they have? That's
But would
my
they? Well, we
question.
don't know that, but they could have, so,
That's not even-
on that
we're
basis, I
gonna be able
mean,
to determine anyway, right?
right, but I think regardless of that statement, that other people contacted her, that the selectmen still have the standing to request a rehearing, motion for a rehearing regardless. If they feel that something's going awry, they have the standing to do that.
Give me just a couple minutes.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Take all the time you want.
I'm really close to.
You got some more you want to add, George?
No.
At
Oh,
the
yeah,
moment.
go ahead, George.
No, I'm good. I mean, you know, at this point, still thinking it through.
Okay. My first inclination is to set up another meeting a week from now. So you've got a week to, or sooner if you wish, but I mean, a week from now to see where we go from there, if you will. And to see whether you want me to jump into an attorney now, or do you want to wait until
Yeah,
after that next meeting?
that's what I'm putting together in my mind, that we should see an attorney now, have another meeting subsequent to that. We still got time on the 30-day limit.
Oh, within the 30 days, now that we know we got that second 30 day.
And then make the final decision. I mean, I'm that close to making a decision myself, but I don't think it's fair to these two folks to do that right now until they've had an opportunity to.
I agree.
Yeah, okay.
I agree.
So I think that would be, if,
Yeah, what I would like to know is what
I
an
won't go into
attorney would think of the points that this attorney made with regard to the hardship. In other words, you have these issues here.
That's what we want to find out.
Right, that's,
All
I
right,
couldn't
right.
make a decision until I would know what that, you know, what is this valid or isn't it valid?
Mhm.
Okay, the only thing that could be construed as valid, whether we like it or not, is procedure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we kind of shortcut the procedure a little bit, the way we dealt. We didn't deal it within specifics. You know, we spent a lot of time talking about this whole hardship issue and what constitutes a hardship and,
Right.
and going to the RSA and things like that. But it's on that issue. If that was the only issue, they would still have a valid issue and there wouldn't be anything. So regardless of what the attorney would say, I think that would still come out as the primary thing. But the fact that it's been raised in the motion to begin with,
Mhm.
I think it still has to be addressed.
See, the problem here is that we have two plateaus now, you know.
Mhm.
If they had drafted the letter themselves, would it read like this?
Mhm.
But no, they've gone legal, so we're still at this level and they've gone up to
Right.
another plateau.
Right,
So we must now bring ourselves up to
Up
that
to that
level,
level.
unfortunately.
right.
And in essence, you're talking, you know, lawyer to lawyer. See what he comes up with.
Yeah.
I know I'm reading this stuff too, I'm thinking, really? So, that is my analogy to plateaus.
Yeah.
Hope it made sense.
No, I understand what you're saying, exactly. Yeah.
But if it's the board's decision that you want me to get with an attorney first, we'll go with that.
That's
It's-
my feeling.
Is it,
You know,
I was
it is
gonna make a
because-
motion that we first
Okay.
seek legal assistance on this, and then, and schedule a subsequent meeting after that, to
Okay.
make our decision.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay, can we go ahead and schedule the meeting tonight? And if we have to, we can move the meeting out, but that way we'll
Well-
already, yeah.
Well, there's a motion on the floor, so I don't know
Oh,
if you want to amend it
No.
later, I guess. But right now, we'll kind of need a second.
Oh, well,
if you could.
well, I'd be more than happy to second it.
Okay, the motion's on the floor, it's been seconded, and it's now open for discussion. I think you had something you wanted to add.
Yeah, I won't get involved in deliberation, but I will make a procedural comment. If you are making a motion, and Joe is maybe just asking that you amend the motion to include a meeting date, I'm not sure whether that's what was taking place there or not, but anyway.
Yeah, I think he was waiting for it to be seconded, and then, he would move to amend it, so.
Wait a minute, wait a
Is that
minute.
right?
Now you're confusing me. What is the initial motion?
The initial motion is to seek legal assistance and to set up a meeting subsequent to that meeting.
Oh, and then I amended it by saying, can we set up the meeting tonight?
Yeah,
To,
to find a date. for
so
the
that
meeting.
people can make better plans, not necessarily waiting on, us having to contact you.
Yeah, that amendment's
Okay.
perfectly satisfactory to
Okay.
me.
So
And at this point, I can't do next Tuesday.
See, that's what I want to know, is
Yeah.
if the dates that you can't deal with. So with that being said, and my amendment to his motion to go ahead and set a meeting up tonight,
Tentatively.
tentatively.
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday wouldn't work, but
Okay,
it
well, we
looks
can
like
do-
every other day of the week.
For these kind of meetings, we can shoot any day of the week. Is anyone, or actually, we should be finishing his motion here,
Right.
right? We get-
Go back to
You made a
the
motion,
and then do it.
and
It's been
it's
seconded.
been amended.
Has it been amended? Yeah, I
Well-
think so. But you didn't actually set a date, did you?
Not yet, because we'll do that after we make the motion.
Oh, okay.
I thought that you were amending it to include a date.
Yeah,
So you're working on amending it and,
Yeah.
Uh,
So we're trying to pick the date before we finish the motion.
right.
Next
Finish
Thursday,
amending.
6 o'clock, yay.
Wheels are turning over.
Thursday
Okay.
works for
We
me.
wiped him right out.
Next Thursday would work for me, so.
Next Thursday, next Thursday would work for you, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
What's that actual date?
That
28th,
would be the,
Oh,
right?
yes.
Yes.
yeah, it looks good. I think so.
28th.
Yeah.
Okay, I will give the attorney a call tomorrow
Okay.
and see where,
Time, could you do 5 PM, I wonder?
Yes.
I have no problem with times.
Yeah, is that
Yeah, I can do 5
is
p.m.
that
and-
best for you?
It would be, yeah, I mean, because obviously I'll be here late on Tuesday of next week and.
The only one that might have a problem would be Kathy. 'cause
Oh, well
she
then,
has
if
to
you
get out.
guys want to do 6,
She may
that's
be
fine.
able to leave, you know.
And,
Right, if
don't
she
count
knows
on
in
it.
Marina,
advance,
too.
I'm okay.
Hey,
You're all right with that?
Mhm.
if you think 6 is better for you guys, I can deal. I've got plenty of work to do with it. I can do it until 6, so, yeah, whatever you guys.
Here again, if Kathy can't make it, we still have a quorum.
We do have a
Yeah.
quorum, yes. Yeah.
So,
And, well,
so I would go with 5, you know.
That's fine by me, I mean, obviously, I'm wide open.
Why did you select 5 o'clock? Who selected 5 o'clock?
I threw it out. It was selfish.
You threw,
I'm
oh,
being selfish.
oh, for selfish.
I think that's fine. Saves me from running home and then coming back again.
We don't want to interfere
Right.
with your tennis match.
That's right.
They'll come right through and stop. So yes, tentative for the 28th, 5 o'clock. That's if you can get an appointment and get a chat.
Yeah, so reference to motion with the amendment, and I second it. No further discussion at this point in time? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? So there you have the motion. I'll go from there.
Okay, so it's July 28th at 5 o'clock
Yes.
It's next
To-
Thursday.
to determine our course of action.
Well, to bring up
It's a
everybody up
follow-up.
to date on what the legal advice might be,
Oh, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and hopefully that we can come up with an answer at that point in time.
Yep.
So keep in mind the different options
Mhm.
that are there and what the repercussions of each might be. And it's nothing that's going to interfere with your personal lives, even if it goes to court. I mean, that generally speaking, the board doesn't really go, it's the attorneys that
You know,
do their thing,
Mhm.
and the judge may send it back. If he chose not to hear it, the judge may send it back to rehear it anyway,
Yeah.
or he might let it stand. You don't know, but with my past experience, that's the worst case scenario. And like in the last case of this nature, they turned it down a second time, and then the judge just reversed it.
And we will presumably approve the revised edition of the minutes of that meeting on the 28th.
Oh, you actually already have?
We already did that.
We did.
Oh, I'm sorry, we'll have a copy of the revised.
Oh, yes, yep.
Excellent.
Well, they'll be the final minutes, yeah, so now nobody will be working off everyone will be working off minutes that the
Correct.
board has approved.
That's approved,
That's
yeah.
perfect. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else we got to,
No.
correspondence? Was there any further correspondence we needed to be
No,
aware of?
no,
Is there any other business?
not for me.
Well, that being said, I think everything's been laid on the table, and
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes. I would ask that, if you can, when I get on to the attorney, being if you're the vice chairman,
I'd like to go with you.
come with me,
accompany
because
you on
if
that, yes.
I don't survive,
Yeah.
I'll need somebody to carry the flag for me.
That's right. And if your voice goes,
Oh,
you'll
that
need
too.
somebody to speak for you.
That too.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to
I'll
accompany you on
I'm using this kind of stuff.
that. Thanks for including me in your,
Yes, I just use it. At my age, I need all the help I can get, and memory and stuff like that.
So are we adjourned?
I make a motion that we adjourn this.
I'll second. Oh.
No
And
problem.
we have multiple seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
That's nice.
Okay, everything's over at 6:54.
Yeah, I can see why she passed that around and want to discuss it in public on the camera
Yeah.
after reading it.